see what that does.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Orange in the cloud.
We'll see. It is recording now in the cloud. So this is Online Yoga with Thea. It is June 18th, 2020. And we're going to going to take my picture away.
Oh, good.
And
Perfect.
and make Kathy a spotlight video. And we're going to start in the regular fashion. Starting with vagus nerve reset. So you're on your knee, on your back with your knees bent. Bring your hands behind your back. Head, the back of the head. Just creating a cradle for your head so it's stable and steady and still. And now just look to the right with your eyeballs only. Look to the right and wait for a yawn, swallow, sigh, or gulp. Return to the center and shift your eyeballs to the left. Yawn, wait and watch for yawns, swallow, sigh, or gulp. Come back to center. Do this 2 more sets, right, left, without my cueing them. Finish up. Keep your hands where they are. Press the back of the base of the skull, the occipital ridge, into your clasp hands. Press. Wait or pause, and then release and repeat. And do that 4 more times. You may have to fiddle with the placement of your hands and the pressure, where the pressure is coming from. Bring your hands down by your waist. We're going to practice breathing, Viloma breath. I'm going to cue it slightly differently this time. I'd like you to think of dividing your lungs into thirds. or the breath entering your lungs. You're going to take 3 inhales, 1/3, the second third, and then fill the last third of the lungs. So inhale, fill 1/3 of your lungs. Pause, and then inhale again and fill the second third of the lungs. And pause, and then fill the last third of the lungs. And pause, and exhale normally. And keep going. Let's do about 4 more of these. Last one. Moving on to a classic, basic hypopressive. Your knees are still bent, your heels are on the floor, but the toes are towards the ceiling. Bring your arms up in front of your armpits and chest as if you're hugging a tree, and then flip your palms to the ceiling, and then see if you can activate your shoulders and your arms by pressing your palms towards the ceiling and your shoulders toward the floor. We're going to take 3 breaths and then hold the breath out while I count to 12. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Last exhale. Hold your breath out, no breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Go ahead and bring your arms down and relax. You can windshield wiper your legs if you want, just anything to create a transition. We're going to do it one more time though. So same shape, one more time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. This is the last exhale. Hold your breath out, no breath. It's as if you're inhaling without an inhale breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And go ahead and inhale and exhale. And we're going to move to the side lying practice. So lying on your side with a brick underneath your head. I'm going to try to do this too, because I usually don't get to do the practice, but it's nice for me if I can. But Kathy's the model. She's going to lie on her mat with a brick under her head. And you'll need a ball, a therapy ball for the last, the closing of the practice, or on that side. We're going to do all of the moves on one side and then all of the moves on the other side. So, does anyone, so let's see if Kathy knows. Let's test Kathy.
Oh, great.
So what's first, Kathy? Side lying. That's right. External, no, it's protraction and retraction of the scapula. So your arm, top arm is parallel to the floor, shoulder height. And then the scapula, the shoulder blade moves away from the spine and towards the spine. So away first, that's protraction. And then towards the spine, retraction. Keep going. And make this a scapular movement. The arm moves because the scapula initiated a movement. And do this two more times. And then bring your arm straight up to the ceiling. And what do we do next, Kathy? Straight down. This is called sunrise sunset. That's the popular name. It's really lateral abduction, adduction of the arm. This is more of an arm bone movement, the head of the arm bone moving in the glenohumeral joint. So you should feel it. Try to move slowly so that you can tell your brain, this is the way I want the arm to move when it needs to move in this direction. And then one more. Bring the arm back up to the ceiling. We're going to do, what are we going to do next, Kathy? Internal, external rotation. So I like to put my hand on the arm bone in the front and then make sure that the movement is a movement from the arm bone, not the wrist or the elbow. The wrist and the elbow will move because the arm bone internally or externally rotated. So internal, it's moving forward, and then external, it's moving backward. Slowly, slowly, internal and external rotation at the arm bone, at the glenohumeral joint. One more. And bring your arm down by your hip. So we finished 3. Try to remember them in sets of 3. It'll help you remember. The second set, we're going to do snow angels. I call it technical snow angels because I want you to do two different levels of external rotation of the arm. One coming up, it's an overhead arm movement, and one coming back. So Kathy, go back where you started. So Kathy's going to externally rotate her arm as far as she can. So backwards, and then move the arm up. So by the time she gets to her ear, the palm is down, but she doesn't move. She stays in the same plane. And then once she gets here, then she faces her palm forward and then brings her arm back down to her hip. So now the external rotation is more extreme. These are two levels of external rotation. Her arm comes up, overhead by the ear, as close to the ear as you can get it. Do your best, but don't move into pain, and then come on back. Adjust the arm and the hand so the hand faces forward. And do 4 more of these, so up you go. And return. And up you go. Make an adjustment and return. Up you go. Return. Slow is better. It's telling the brain, it's teaching the brain to move this way. Last one, up. And return. Just put your hand on your hip or your thigh. We're going to do shoulder circles, both directions. Start by moving your arm behind you and then up overhead and then in front of you and then down by your hips. Keep going. Slow is better. Try to keep the torso, the shoulders stacked so that you're not opening your chest to create a bigger arm circle. This is the circle you create is the one that isolates the movement in the glenohumeral joint. Two more circles in this direction. Last circle in this direction. When your arm comes back to your hip, start moving in the other direction. Move your arm forward, overhead, behind you, back to the hip. Do it slowly. If this is too many for you, then stop and rest. Go ahead and finish up one more circle. And then bend your elbow and bring your forearm forward, palm down. We're going to do half of a flying pizza. So the front of the arm, keep the elbow tucked in at the waist. The front of the arm comes back, and as it comes back, the palm moves into another direction so it's facing your ear. And then as it comes down, it moves to a position where it's facing the floor. So just move your wrist and your forearm as you go back and forth between those 2 points. You should feel this in the upper back, at the scapula, at the rotator cuff muscles. This actually is good for posture, but it's also good for strengthening the rotator cuff muscles. You may not be able to bring your hand back as far as Kathy. Just come back as far as you can. And do 2 more. And come back down. Finish up. Put your hand on your hip. Extend both legs or the top leg, either one. We're going to do leg lifts. I'm going to go leg lifts. So lift the straight leg, your straight leg up. You can droop your toes if you want, just to create a little more focus on the outside of the thigh. If you go too far, you'll notice that your buttocks drops back behind you. So you're trying to keep your hips stacked. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me, Kathy?
Yes.
Yeah. I have this new microphone, which has a cord on it, but it's supposed to allow me to go everywhere.
No, it sounds good.
Just do one more. Rest. And then start to flex and extend. So the leg goes forward and it goes backward. And if you want to, when you're coming forward, dorsiflex, toes to nose. While you're coming backward, point the foot. So just getting a little more additional footwork. You can use your top hand to stabilize you so you don't fall over. If you want to, you can pause as you extend or take your leg backwards and squeeze your glute. And then return. One more. And then finish up and bring your legs, bend your knees again and stack your knees and bring your knees a little forward towards your face. We're going to do clams, hip clams. So just Lift the knee, top knee away from the bottom knee. The ankles and the feet stay together. And after this movement, you can put your hand on your knee. Maybe you want to bring your knees even closer to your face so you can add some resistance to the pose. So as you push your knee away from the other knee, the top hand on the knee resists that movement. And as you come down, the hand is pushing down, but the knee is resisting the movement. You'll start to feel this in the buttocks, in the glutes. And do it a couple more times. You can exhaust yourself on this one, just because of the additional resistance. But it's a great move. Anytime we start to activate the glute muscles, we're counteracting the results, the negative results of sitting too long. And just do one more and stop. Grab your therapy ball and put it behind your ear at the earlobe. If you don't have a therapy ball, a tennis ball, if you don't have a tennis ball, you can crumple up a washcloth into a little ball. So once you're here, just start to nod, chin up, chin down, so the ball is behind your ear at just behind the earlobe. This is an area that a lot of people hold a lot of tension in. You're just going to want to do about 6 nods. If we had more time, it would be more. And then 6 side to side. This is a small movement. You're not really going very far, but side to side with the ball in the same location. And then when you're done, bring your ball to the cheekbone. Oh, I wish I had a smaller block right now.
Yeah, I'm a smaller block.
So this time you're going to go ahead and nod. I'm going to go find am I going to go find a smaller block? No, I guess I'm not. I'm going to move to a big alpha ball, then I won't need a block at all. So just the ball is at the cheekbone, and you're just starting to nod, chin up, chin down, 6 times. Side to side, 6 times. We hold a lot of tension here, a lot of us. This is where TMJ arrives. The last move here is to open and close your jaw. And then the final move here, the final of the triplet, 1, 2, 3, is at your temple. So put the ball at your temple. And nod. There are several places that might feel sensitive here. But you just find the one that feels right for you. And then side to side. It's too bad I'm going to have to wake you up and put you on the other side of the rest of the Sidelying series. Because these last 3 moves could put you to sleep.
Oh, easy.
Yeah. Okay, finish that, then flip to the other side with your ball and your brick if you're using a brick. And a question to you, Kathy, is what's next? So this is the Sidelying series. It's a pretty easy one to remember. I do it every month or so, just so you can have it in your toolkit, like on autopilot. I can't think of anything to do. Oh, maybe I'll do the Sidelying series. You can do it in your bed. Whoops, that was wrong. So first, this is your arm is parallel to the floor, your top arm, and you're going to protract and retract. So the scapula protracts and retracts. It goes away from the spine and then it goes toward the spine. So protraction away and toward is full retract. Do that a couple more times. Actually, 4 more times. Make sure you're using the scapula to do the movement, not the arm. And then the next movement, take your arm to the ceiling. And this is called sunrise, sunset. So you'll bring the arm back down to parallel and then up toward the ceiling. And let's do 4 more of those. And the last one in this triplet, you bring your arm straight up to the ceiling and start to internally and externally rotate the arm bone, the head of the arm bone, the humerus, at the glenohumeral joint. So you may want to put your hand, your bottom hand up there on that bone just to feel the movement. You're going forward to internally rotate and backward to externally rotate. You want to do it slowly and as far as you can go. That's comfortable, nothing painful here. Make sure that the movement is taking place at the humerus, the head of the humerus, not at the wrist or the elbow. You can make a fist with your hand and that'll help you keep the movement out of the hand. Okay, let's finish that and just bring your arm down by your hip. We're going to do technical snow angels. So the arm is you're going to externally rotate the arm as it's lying on your hip as far as you can. Palm goes up to the ceiling, then the arm comes up and overhead. And then when you come back down, the palm comes forward, faces forward. So it's another level of external rotation, but lesser than the one before. So up comes now. Wait a minute. I'm lost, so I lost myself. I'm going to catch up with Kathy here. So Kathy overhead, and now when she comes back down, the palm faces forward. Now, more external rotation, and the arm comes up. This is an overhead arm movement, something we need to keep as we keep and preserve or keep, depending on you. Preserve or keep or restore, depending on you. I've written an article on my blog at medium.com about slowing down your movements so that you can talk to your brain. If you're interested in that sort of thing, check it out. And one more. This should help with tennis. This shoulder work should help with tennis too, Diana. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is shoulder circles starting at the back. So just bring your arm behind you, your straight arm, then overhead, forward, back to the hips, and keep going. Try to keep your shoulders and your hips and your torso stacked so that you're not trying to create a bigger circle by using your chest.
I need to move away from the wall.
If you don't have room to make a big circle with your straight arm, you can bend your elbow, put your hand on top of your shoulder, and keep circling. It's not quite the same. It's a little different, but you'll get some of the same benefits. It's a similar movement. Just so you know, even though this circle takes a lot of space, there's an alternative that takes less space. Let's do one more. Bend your elbow, keep your elbow tucked. Oh, the other direction, sorry. Whoops. It's a good thing you're watching me. Let's do the other direction. This is called circumduction. So, there's an internal rotation, external rotation. There's abduction, adduction. This is all of, when you circumduct in a joint, usually it's the hip or the shoulder, you're moving in all of the various possible ranges or directions of motion in that joint. Okay, finish up. Bend your toe. Oh, you're going to finish up one more circle. That's okay.
Okay.
Now, starting with the arm by this at the side, bend your elbow. Your forearm is forward, palm facing the floor. We're going to do flying pizzas. So you're moving your arm back and also at the same time rotating your wrist and your hand so the palm is facing the ear by the time you get up there. So as you move, you rotate, and as you come back, you rotate back. This is called flying pizza. It's a great movement for strengthening and stabilizing the rotator cuff muscles and even repairing them as long as you're not hurting yourself. So be sure and go back as far as you can. But if you come to pain, stop. Pay attention to the red light or the caution light. But you should feel most of this at the back of the scapula. Do one more. So that's the end of the second shoulder triplet. Now extend your legs. Afraid that you're going to have to move. Just extend your legs. You can bend, keep the bottom one bent. Extend the top leg. For leg lifts, droop your toes and lift your leg. So this is a abduction of the thigh. You can even put your hand on your thigh for a little bit of guidance and resistance. If you go too high, you'll notice your butt drops back behind you, and then you're using your hip flexor muscles. So try to avoid that. And then go ahead and let's go forward and backward, flexion, extension. When you come forward, point your toes forward, and when you go backward, point your toes backward. So this just adding a little bit of ankle and footwork, calf work. You can pause. When you come back, you put your leg to the back, extend, pause, and squeeze your glutes. And then come forward. Come back, pause, squeeze. Come back, pause, squeeze. And one more time. And then bring your knees, bent knees together, a little closer to your face. And we'll start hip clams. So the knee, top knee moves away from the bottom knee. The feet stay together. You can put your hand on your knee and create some resistance there. So this is a Kihara resistance stretch. It both strengthens and stretches the thigh muscles and the quads. It also works at the glute. You should start to feel this burning in the glutes. The hand is always resisting the knee, the movement of the knee always resisting the movement of the hand. And one more. You may want to pound your butt out. So make a fist with your hand and pound on your butt where you were, that's where you were doing the work.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nice way to thank your glute for all it was just doing for you. Go ahead and put your small ball on a small brick or a large ball. You don't even need a brick. I'm going to do the large ball because my small brick is in another room. Starting with the ball behind the earlobe and just nodding, chin up, chin down, 6 times, 6 to 9 times. If you're new to this, it may be very sensitive back here. Now so you did up and down, now side to side. Bring your ball and put it inside the cheekbone. There's a little indent here on the side of the cheek. There might be several places actually that are good, but you're going to find one. And then just nod up and down. And then side to side. Come back and pause and then open your mouth, open your jaw 6 times. And then bring your ball up to the temple. Find a place that feels good or bad good. There could be a lot of tension up here, headache tension even. And then nodding. Side to side. And then finish up. Find your way onto your back. And I'm going to lead you through a 61-point guided meditation, Yoga Nidra. Kathleen, new person, if you don't, I know you're in PV. If you don't have some of the props that I'm mentioning now and that I mentioned in my letter, Alma Aguilar at Yoga Varta is having a sale on some props, gently used props. So including therapy goals. So that might be an opportunity for you. You just have to contact her at the studio. Okay, let me find, okay. So I'm going to turn off. You're going to lie on your back in a comfortable position. Legs can be extended or bent, knees bent. You could put a pillow under your knees. You could put a washcloth over your eyes. You could put a blanket over your body, depending on the weather in the room you're in. I'm going to guide you through 61 points on your body, 61 body parts. And starting with the breath. And I'm going to ask you to systematically move your attention to those points without moving any part of the body. Starting with the breath, breathing in and breathing out. And then bringing your awareness to the center of your eyebrows, center of your throat, right shoulder, elbow, wrist, right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, right wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, left shoulder, elbow, wrist, left thumb, finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, left wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, spiritual heart center, right side of your chest, heart center, left side of your chest, heart center, navel center, center of your pelvis, right hip, right knee, ankle, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, right ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, left hip, knee, ankle, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, left ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, navel center, heart center, center of your throat, center of your eyebrows. This completes the 61-point guided Yoga Nidra meditation. Start to pay attention to your breathing. You can extend your legs and then arms extending over the head, overhead by the ears, stretching your body to try to create a little bit of space, more space between the pelvis and the rib cage. Wiggle your fingers and your toes, stretch one side and then the other. You can hug yourself. You can free form. And then hug. Why don't you bring both your knees to your chest? Cross the one knee over the other. Tighten them up. So this is like an upside down cow face pose. Do you recognize this? So the knees are stacked as much as you can. You're hugging them towards yourself. You can use a strap. You can pull on your feet, or you can hug your knees. And rock from side to side. And then switch sides. This is always an option if you can't do cow face, floor-seated cow face. Just rock, roll, rock both, walk your knees, hug your knees and rock them from side to side, and then come over to one side into a fetal position. Put your hands, bottom hand and arm underneath your head for a pillow. Bring yourself up to seated with your top hand. Unmute yourself. So that we can do the closing. So everybody unmute themselves, because it seems like they no longer give me an option to unmute you. It's very odd. It used to be an option. Maybe I can ask you. Ask to unmute, ask to unmute, ask to unmute. So everyone unmute themselves. I guess everybody has except Diana. Please unmute yourself. And that's it. Okay, now we're ready. This is my new mic. It's interesting to try to dress yourself in front of a Zoom frame, picture frame, because it's a mirror image. So when you pull on this side, it looks like that side. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead and bring your hands to your heart in a prayer pose. And lift the occipital ridge up away from your shoulders, and then nod forward, fold, rock and roll forward, bow. And we're going to close the class by saying to each other, Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop recording, but you can stay on and